For any nation that is standing strong and waxing very, very good today pass through some turbulent times. Most of the time, civil war, loss of those who fight so dearly for the independence or the liberation of that nation. And this is the story of Nigeria. After so much years of colonialism in Nigeria and Africa at large, Nigeria got her independence in 1960. But since that time, we only were able to have one democratic elected president in 1979, which later lost his power to Muhammadu Buhari in 1983. Since then, it has always been a military rule after the deadly civil war that almost wiped out a whole ethnic group from 1966 all the way to 1969. This, which happened back then in the years, has never left the minds of many Nigerians. But since the return of democracy in 1999, many thought that yes, here we are, the light has been seen at the end of the tunnel. Talking about the military rule that have engulfed the country for more than 20 years of her existence. And then we had Olusegun Obasanjo, who came all the way from the prison to become the first democratic elected president after the return of democracy in the country. Everyone was celebrating. Everybody was happy with the achievement at this point in time. But then we had some up and downs during his administration. After 8 years, one of the worst elections conducted by the Independent National Electoral Commission in Nigeria was the election of 2007, of which the eventual winner admitted that the election was marred with a lot of irregularities. Yar'Adua went ahead to set up reforms in order to place Nigeria among the world powers. But then it happens that his health status were not really made known to Nigerians. And there was some information that many people were not privileged to have. And he continued to battle with his health privately. After Vision 2020, the 7-point agenda, not to talk about the Owens reports, not to talk about so many reports and reform that has been put in place, all were aborted. Yar'Adua was a man of integrity. He was known to be someone who held the country with high esteem. Upon the arrival of Yar'Adua as the president of Nigeria, many believe that the time is set for Nigeria to kick the ground running as the real giants of Africa. But when this incident happened, the whole light at the airport went off. When the president was returned back to the country, some thought that yes, he has returned to continue from where he stopped. But then, who will have the courage to break the news to the orphans in Abuja? Who will break the news to the widows sitting in Abuja? What about the two giants of Niger, the west, the south, and the north? Who will break the news to the siblings, the stepsons and daughters, the southwest, the southeast, the south-south, the northwest, the northeast, the middle belt? Nobody has the courage to stand up to the task. But unfortunately, it happens one very good morning when everybody woke up from the sleep, going for their daily businesses, and they heard in the news, the president is gone. This brings a lot of sadness to the heart of over 200 million Nigerians and across West Africa and Africa. And then everyone begin to think, what next for Nigeria? What next for Vision 2020? What next for the 7-point agenda? But with a swift move of the National Assembly, among so many stakeholders, they stood their ground to make sure that the Vice President, as of that time, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, was swiftly sworn in as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Upon his swearing in 2009, it happens that on the first independence celebration in 2010, we had one of the famous deadliest attack in Abuja. This necessitated into the issue of terrorism, which started from his administration up to date. And here we are today, crying and weeping. If only we had Yar'Adua, Nigeria would have been far developed than what it is today in 2024. The Vision 2020 never comes to pass. The 7-point agenda were abolished. The president that came after him, the one that came again after him again, and again, none look at those reports, the Always report, the Orisayas report, among so many reforms that we saw that would have lightened up our day, all went into darkness. And now, there is a little hope that rise up in 2023, but then it was again dashed to the cold hands of the evil politicians who has bedeviled the country from being one of the elite nations of the world. But what could have been the problem with Nigeria when we are almost having it at our own hands? We lose it so cheaply, either to the debts or to the corrupt politicians. And here we are again, crying and hoping that one day we will have a man who will liberate this country from the cankerworms and palmerworms of dangerous politicians, both foreign and local, who will not let Nigerians go, just like the Pharaoh in the Bible. Who will be the Moses has been the cry of every young child on the streets. This is the memory of one of the best men who would have liberated Nigeria, Musa Yar'Adua, who passed on the 5th of May 2009. May the soul, former president, rest in peace.